into some of the deeper details. He was watching that along with us and gathering some information. So we'll be going to him at a certain point in just a moment.
I just want to mention that we are starting the NBC4 news at 6 right now with the very latest on the tragedy that unfolded last night on this Lunar New Year celebration in the Monterey Park area. Kathy, as you mentioned, we heard just a lot of details from the sheriff right now, and especially those young officers. We heard Chief Weiss from Monterey Park say that his very young officers were there within 3 minutes of the 911 call. They didn't hesitate. They saw people coming out wounded into the parking lot, and they went inside and discovered the carnage inside and wounded in there as well.
Yeah, and here's what we know right now. There were 10 people killed in that incident. The sheriff describing the people who were in there as not 20-year-olds. He's not giving specific information, but he's saying these are people that were in their 50s, 60s, and beyond. So you get the idea that these were older people that were attending. And in fact, last night when we saw people being escorted out after the shooting, it did appear that was the situation. We do have critically wounded now who are in hospitals, so we're going to be wanting to get more information on that. But the thing we've been waiting for all day long, to hear a motive and to hear more about the timeline of how these three communities came together, Monterey Park to Alhambra to Torrance. How did we end up in Torrance, where you're seeing that van there and the Special Enforcement Bureau officers from the LA County Sheriff's Department surrounding it with the SWAT vehicles on three sides of that van? How did we end up in Torrance? Well, we learned today that the Sheriff's Department, or rather the Police Department, put out information and said this is the van witness hall. Man, and information.
Investigation itself in Alhambra, where the shooter was disarmed, and then the SWAT team response in Torrance, where the gunman took his own life. We have team coverage for you tonight as we follow the newest information. So we're going to begin with Hetty Chang live near the scene of the shooting in Monterey Park. Hetty.
Carolyn and Kathy, as we have been talking about all morning into the afternoon and now into the evening, this was supposed to be a happy, festive celebration. Several hundred people came out here last night to the city of Monterey Park to kick off the Lunar New Year festivities, including a witness I spoke with. He was to attend a party behind us here on the corner of Garvey and Garfield at a very popular dance hall. It's called Wuxing, and in Chinese that does translate to star dance or dance Star Studio. Dozens of people showed up there for a special Lunar New Year countdown celebration, and I want to show you the flyer for that event right now. It was shared to me by a woman who tells me she was invited but actually decided not to go last night. This was a party that was supposed to take place from 8 p.m. to 12:30 this morning. There would be karaoke, dancing, food, prizes. Another man who was there, he did not want to identify himself, fearing for his safety. He says he was there right about 10:20 on that dance floor is when that witness told me the disco music came on. He and dozens of others hit the dance floor to do a line dance. It was dark, the music was loud. He heard several pops. He says 20 rounds at first and then a pause. He actually thought it was fireworks for the Lunar New Year celebration. After that pause, he says the gunfire then continued, and he says after that second barrage of bullets, the music was still playing, but everyone was huddled on the floor.
The shooting stopped. A few guys walk around to see other people, are you okay? Are you okay? And I think this is a good time. I want to leave this dangerous place.
The man describes this as a close-to-death experience, that if the gunman kept going, that maybe he wouldn't be here talking with us today. We just heard in that news conference from LA County Sheriff Robert Luna confirming that this same gunman, 72-year-old Mr. Tran, is the same man connected to this shooting scene here in the city of Monterey Park, as well as the one in Alhambra. You heard authorities say that Tran, about 20 minutes later, drove about 2.5 miles north from here in Monterey Park to Alhambra to a place called the Lai Lai Ballroom, and the